Hello and welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2019 season. We're in Austria for the second round of the season after a thrilling race at Imola last time out that saw Michael Schmidl start his season in the same way he finished 2018. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me as usual, it's Chris Buxton.
Glad to be back for the next round of this amazing VGP season that we have laid out for you right there. 13 races in all, and let us see how our VGP1 drivers stand up. Michael Schmidl, of course, taking the dominant win, but Stefanko was chasing him home. Polesny 3, Chlebix 4, Blazik 5, Frabis 6, Prohaska 7, Kazanik 8, Kostelik 9, Jan Ziegler rounding out the top 10 of the VGP1 standings.
In VGP2, it is Kujela that leads the way with 10 points, with Korony in second, sitting on 8 points. Rigel in third position with 6 points, so it is still very close, of course, at the top. Still some drivers yet to score points, but of course we will see that as the season progresses. Acer currently leading the way in the championship standings, but it is a very, very tight battle for second position, with no less than 4 teams tied for second place, sitting on 10 points, and only Replay Studio yet to score. Let's just remind ourselves what everybody is racing for, because of course we do have prizes in Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP. Everybody is racing for that 1-year rental of a brand new Mercedes-Benz CLA class, which I'm sure Michael Schmidl could tell them all about that. For the VGP2 team, though, first place is a 1-month rental of a brand new Mercedes-Benz car and an automatic invitation to the VGP1 Elite category as well, too.
This is what we can expect from the Red Bull Ring. 4.3 kilometers, 10 turns, and a 106 lap record set by Kimi Räikkönen in the Formula 1. That is the track weather, boiling hot and lovely clear weather. Driver of the day for VGP1 was Wojtek Polesny. Great battling he had in that lovely Acer car. VGP2 driver of the day was Peter Kujala in the new liveried Forza team. And this is how our qualifying stands. So Schmidl once again taking the top spot. Stefanko 2, Chlebix 3, Kostelik 4, Kovacic 5, Kazanik 6, Polesny 7, Blazik 8, Seeker 9, and Prada rounding out the top 10 in the qualifying standings.
Yeah, Bushek in 11th, Rigel in 12th position, one of the leading VGP2 cars, with Prohaska not far behind. It is very tight. Thomas Koreny in 14th position, within 1 second of the pole position time, and all of the drivers who set a time all within 2 seconds. So it is very, very close. It is, of course, a short lap around this Red Bull Ring in Austria, but it is still very, very tight. Great to see some of the VGP2 guys actually getting involved at the front and involving themselves with the VGP1 guys, because of course everybody is racing the same cars. The lights are coming on now as we prepare to go racing in Austria, and they're away, and it looks like lots of wheel spin. The driver aids not completely helping with that start. It of course is helpful, but it's still down to the drivers to avoid that wheel spin as much as possible, and it is Schmidl and Stefanko that lead the way. You can see lots of side-by-side action. A little bit further down though, kind of outside the top 10, is where we're seeing most of the side-by-side action as they make the run down towards turn 2 and into turn 3, as well as they get into the heavy braking zone. Chlebix up the inside on Stefanko. That is a bold move right at the start. We're seeing a little bit of contact. Oh, and that's one of the Logitech cars that spun around. I'm not sure who, is that Kovacic? Is that Kavanagh? I'm not entirely sure. But one of those Logitech cars was spun right around, facing the wrong direction. Thankfully, I think most of the drivers were able to kind of part the seas and go around him, as we can see Pushata for the Thrustmaster with a poor start as well. but Korny in that spurt off to a good start. And that is, I think that is the Logitech car that we saw going down at the back. But yeah, I think the headline here, Chris, is actually Stefanko dropping down to third.
Well, it's not often that Stefanko is outbraked anywhere, and that was a really bold move by Hlebets to take the second position, and look at that! That's Jan Frabic getting his elbows out, coming through turn 7, and pushing aside someone to get through into that 14th position. It was Jan Seeger, I think, that he's shoved wide. Now heading to complete the first lap, then everyone's starting to get into the rhythm. There is Stefanko, well, and yet again Schmidl asserting his authority, getting into a lead. His usual sparring partner Stefanko has got company there in the form of Hlebets. Kostalik not far behind in that rebranded Forza car. The surprise qualifier from the VGP2, Kovacic has had a terrible. I think it was Kovacic that we saw facing the wrong way. What a shame on the opening lap. That is Jan Seeker trying to get back up through the field. He's in 8th position at the moment, trying to do something on Kazanik, and that is then. That's Korny, now the leader of the VGP2 field, trying to get involved there for the sport team, trying to make an outside maneuver coming into turn 4. Pretty bold to try something there, doesn't quite make it happen, but wow, lots of close fighting as we always imagine, but our VGP2 drivers yet again making the VGP1 guys work hard for it.
Yep, Korny, as you mentioned, leading the way for VGP2 at the moment. Frabic and Prohaska kind of down in this pack of VGP2 drivers, so I'm assuming they're going to be looking to try and make as many positions up as they possibly can. But Sikora running well in that 8th position car. He's got Kazanik just ahead of him in that Logitech car. The other Logitech, of course, down at the back. With Kovacic unfortunately going for that spin, not quite seeing what happened, what led up to that. One thing I can tell you, though, without even having to look at the cars, is Schmidl has broken away from Hlebets, and this is really, really unfortunate for Martin Stefanko, who, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Chris, was right behind Schmidl for the entirety of the race around Imola. It was just over half a second between the two of them as they crossed the line, and it's looking like that might not be the case here today, potentially. Certainly, with Stefanko still being stuck behind, I'm very surprised at Hlebets' pace here. He's doing very well. We saw kind of flashes of brilliance from him in 2018. We knew he was a bit more competitive, but so far here in 2019, he's looking even more competitive, really getting those elbows out, as we mentioned at the start of the race, making that overtake up the inside into turn 1 on Martin Stefanko. Having a look at Prohaska in the back in that RPS car, and Hurtnecki as well coming under attack from Kovacic, who's actually not dropped too far back. So he did go right down to the back of the grid, but he's in no means out of this race. He can still score good points here today, no doubt about it. And he's going to be pushing hard to try and close that up as much as we can. Lovely camera angle, looking backwards on board with Sikora in 8th position, looking back at that spurt car of Korny, and making their way through the penultimate corner now, using a bit of the curbs at the inside and outside of the corner. Same thing for the final corner, running a bit wide, using all of the circuit and then some. You're getting very... Oh, and that's Bushek in the Smarty car. Oh, that was very, very close. Nearly, I would say, an issue with that rejoining on the circuit, but I think he just got away with that. So he's going to be pretty happy about having a car still that didn't get completely annihilated, but we rejoined Prohaska in 13th position as he looks to make the move on Jan Frabic in the Avast car. And of course, Frabic, one of the VGP1 drivers, so here we go, another one of those instances of seeing VGP1 versus VGP2, but it looks like Frabic has it for now, and we rejoin Kovacic in that battle to try and get by Hurtnecki. A little bit of a bump there, Chris, but not able to make it by this time.
I think it was Kovacic that very nearly caught Bushek's recovering car. That would have been disaster upon disaster for Kovacic, were that the case. He managed to just about get away with it. There may well be words said about that one afterwards. Rejoining this battle, Frabic and Jaroslav Prohaska battling for that 12th position. The Avast car doing what he can to fend off the very impressive performance of the Replay Studios VGP2 driver of Prohaska. His brother right behind him in the sport car in the VGP1 category. So the two Prohaskas together on track, if not in team. And right behind the second Prohaska is Vanasek, who is really doing so. Oh, look at that, trying an outside move. Whether that was an outside move or an outbreak, I'm not entirely certain. Trying a big old move at turn 9. Now into the final turn. He's got Kozela in hot pursuit as well. Stefenko doing what he can. Clements making that car as wide as he possibly can. Schmidl, a couple of seconds down the road. He hasn't extended that gap too far, but he's still extending it enough to maintain a lead. I think he's just kind of maintaining his pace rather than trying to pull away. Clements, though, is keeping that pressure from Stefenko very much under control as we return back to this Thomas Prohaska and Vanasek battle between the Sport and the Legion cars. Oh, and that's Kovacic trying to make a move on the outside, coming through turn 4. And, oh, he can't quite get it done, slipping back behind the, I beg your pardon, that was turn 3. Now trying back down the hill. He cannot get past Herdnecki. Herdnecki doing a brilliant defensive job in the Avast car. Is he going to dive in the inside of 4? No, he thinks better of that one, but Kovacic is trying everything he possibly can. Oh, he got a little bit loose. He was pushing a bit too hard, a bit more adhesion is what he was after, but he manages to keep the car under control. Back up to the battle for 8th position, Jan Sikora and Carney, with that is Prada in very hot pursuit as well. There is Frabish and Prohaska still in their battle, actually breaking away from Thomas Prohaska, who's got Vanasek and Kujala for company. As we love to see and come to expect in these VGP races, there is fighting going on absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, even for the very lower end of the positions, it is very far down, because of course we saw Kovacic trying to get past Herdnecki, but Herdnecki doing a fantastic job of defending. There is your current championship leader and also race leader of Michael Schmidl, who I have to say has not pulled as much of a gap as I expected. I was a bit worried at the start of the race when I saw that 2-second gap. Oh, as Polesny and Kostulik trade a bit of paint between the two of them. The Acer car going to defend the inside line on the downhill run towards turn 4. Will the Forza car go around the outside? Will he be late enough on the brakes? It's a very long corner, turn 4, and of course goes into another right-hander. Oh, wow! And that is Herdnecki in the Avast car. He's going to lose 1 position to Kovacic, and I think he's going to lose another position as well too. So losing a couple of positions after going very deep into what I believe was turn 1 there. But just rejoining the battle between Kostulik and Polesny. Polesny again in that beautiful Acer car. Love the green on that Acer car. Possibly my favorite one. But looking very, very close between these two.
I thought Blazek was off for trimming the dust. He looked like he was coming very hot into turn 9, but manages to wrestle his Legion car around the corner very nicely. Yep, I'm in full agreement. I am a big fan of that Acer colour scheme. And Polesny doing a great job representing that brand as he is fighting the Forza liveried Kostulik for that 4th position. There is the battle for 2nd. You can see already ahead of them. There, that's the view from Stefenko doing everything he can against the smarty car of Clements. Clements doing a brilliant job defending exactly where he needs to. He's driving as determined as his picture looks. We commented on it last week. He looks ready to do battle, and that is exactly what he's doing. Stefenko again having a look at the inside. Ooh, he's gone a bit deep into 4, but manages to keep that one under control. That's Kujala that is having a battle. He's lost the position to, whoa, is now side by side with, I believe that is Kovacic, yeah, that's Kovacic then finally, having broken that deadlock with Herdnecki, is now gone up into 16th position. There's the Avast car of Herdnecki with Jelinek in the Predator car right behind him. But Kovacic finally making some headway to try and make up some of the lost time that he had due to that spin early on. But he's now got 3.5 seconds to close into the next car down the road. Here again, battle for 2nd, Lebets and Stefenko. Stefenko doing everything he can. Ooh, gets a bit twitchy, does Lebets in the smarty car. Is this an opportunity for Stefenko in the Benzina car? He's going to look at the inside of turn 1. It's not a particularly big break inside, but he's got the inside line. And Stefenko comes back up into 2nd. Can he hold it? Just about. And Lebets is demoted to 3rd, but now side by side they're going down the hill. Oh, now this is going to be interesting. Slebets has got a slight pace advantage coming through that left-hander of 2. But Stefenko's going to have the inside line for 3. Who's going to be boldest on the brakes? Whoa, still side by side, no impact. They're brilliantly driven by both drivers now heading towards turn 4. That's bringing Kostulik and Polesny into their battle as well. This one's going to have to be resolved very quickly, otherwise they are going to have a lot of company very, very soon.
Side by side through yet another corner. Stefanko once again with the inside line. Is this going to be everything he needs? No, Stefanko actually, Hlebets carries more speed around the outside at turn 4. Brilliantly driven. I'm shocked to see the gap that is now grown between second and Schmidl. Schmidl really starting to break away with all of this side-by-side action between Hlebets and Stefanko. And as Chris mentioned, Kostulik and Polesny really not that far behind either. And I have to imagine Stefanko is going to be really, really upset about not getting by, because he lost so much time to Schmidl during the course of that battle, and unfortunately it has not yielded any sort of results for him just yet. Through the final corner once again, it looks like a better exit this time for Hlebets. I don't think he's going to come under attack into turn 1 this time from Stefanko. I imagine Stefanko is going to really hope, you can see, really moving over to the left-hand side. One thing I did notice last lap when they were battling side-by-side into turn 1 is you can actually see when these cars start braking, even when you're looking dead on at the front of the car, because you can see the fire spit out from the side exhaust. So you can actually tell when the drivers are braking, even when you're not looking from behind, just from seeing that fire shoot out the exhaust from the sides. And into turn 3, unfortunately not enough for Stefanko. Is he going to get a good enough exit out of turn 3 and on the run down towards turn 4? It certainly doesn't look like it. Still got a car length and a half or so between himself and Hlebets as they descend down the hill. Frabish and Prohaska, though, still battling for second position. Frabish holding on to that for now, but Prohaska looking like he got a better exit, actually, out of that previous corner. Is he going to be close enough to mount an attack into turn 4? I don't think he is. He is going to get rather close to the back, but no, not quite enough, as we can see the standings on the right-hand side, just to remind everybody of how things are looking at the moment. But yeah, it's very, very tight for second position, and Schmidl really starting to spread his legs now. He gained a couple more seconds on this battle for second position after the side-by-side moments, but Hlebets is driving so well right now. I have to say, it's really impressive stuff from Hlebets here today to be keeping Martin Stefanko behind. I mean, that's usually the job of Michael Schmidl.
Absolutely. I'm so impressed with how well both of the Hlebets and Stefanko handle that, pretty much half a lap side by side and no impact at all. As you mentioned, Justin, that has cost them a lot of time. Now 4 seconds is Schmidl's lead, and it's 1.4 back to Kostulik, who is dragging Polesny with him. There is Michael Schmidl, is now having a comparatively lonely race out there in first. I'm sure that is exactly what he's after. He'll be enjoying the scenery. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. But yeah, Hlebets brilliantly driven. There is Jaroslav Prohaska again trying to make the move on Frabish. Frabish doing everything he can to fend off the RPS car, but he's had a slow exit from that turn 2, so that's now down the turn 3, beg your pardon, down the hill, and that is Prohaska that has made the move. Can he make it stick though? As the Avaskar looking on the inside, no. Jaroslav Prohaska up into 12th. The persistence paying off. He's finally forced that mistake and up into 4th in class for the VGP2 driver. And he's got his sights then set on Rigel in the Acer car, about 2.5 seconds down the road, but he's still got to fend off Frabish. There is Thomas Prohaska that has shaken off Kovacic as well, about 3 seconds there. Now back up to the battle between Polesny and Kostulik. That's still that gap between the two pairs, about 1.5 seconds. So just any moment now, he's going to either take a mistake or really brute his maneuvers for this deadlock to be broken.
Yeah, Kazanik and Blazek are actually not that far behind Kostulik and Polesny either. Oh, that's a big moment there as Kujela gains a position up the inside through the final corner, as that's the Legion car going very, very wide at the exit, and that is a very easy position for the new liveried Forza car, and Kujela gaining a spot, and actually Pachata as well in the Thrustmaster car is going to gain a position as well too. So that has not gone well for him, and Jelinek as well around the outside at turn 1. Nice move there to move himself up out of last position, as Kostulik now is going to go around the outside at turn 4 on Polesny, side by side between the two of them. Outside line for him through 4 and 5, but of course he'll have the inside line for turns 6 and 7. Oh, a bit of a bump between them. Oh no! Oh no, that's never what you like to see. Polesny is spinning off into the gravel, making contact with the barrier as well too. Oh, you really got a feel for Polesny as he's just stationary, sitting there in the gravel, waiting for a safe moment to try and rejoin the track. And he's gotten it going, and he is going to rejoin now just behind that Forza car. Through the double left-handers of 6 and 7 he goes. And yeah, that's got to be really, really frustrating for Polesny because, as we mentioned, he was not far off that battle for second position, and we were still yet to do any sort of pit stops or anything like that. So, you know, still lots of time left in this race, over 25 minutes plus another lap. As this is the battle I was mentioning earlier, actually. Kazanik and Blazek. Blazek's gotten a terrible exit out of turn 1, and here comes Kazanik, the leading Logitech car. He's going to have the inside line for turn 3. He's already moved ahead, actually, with that overspeed that he had compared to the Legion car, and that's what I was talking about. You can see when they get on the brakes as the fire spits from the side exhaust on these GT3 cars. Minor contact between the two of them, but Kazanik's done it. He's up into the top 5.
That's no easy feat. We commented before how much of an amazing defensive driver Blazek is. And it just took one mistake, exactly as I was mentioning earlier. It took a mistake for that to happen. Here is the accident between Kostelik and the Acer car of Polesny. Such a shame. Battle for 4th, and just as Kostelik comes over, he just unsettles the Acer car. Round he goes and headbutts the wall. That is going to be a big old stop. What a shame for Wojciech Polesny, qualified in 7th, battling for a potential podium spot, and for that to just undo itself so quickly, now down in 16th position with potentially heavy damage. But there is Kazanik still being chased by Blazek. That battle hasn't really resolved itself just yet, although Blazek, it's worth noting that Blazek is actually driving with the flu in this particular race, so he's actually unwell and still up there in the, you know, well in the point. So doing a pretty good job fighting both illness and the on-track advances of those around him, as Jan Segura, not too far behind, looks to try and make a move. Blazek is falling a little way back. Look at the gap with Stefanko. That is, again, that's very rare to see a gap between himself and anyone other than Smiddle of that kind of gap. And Klemitz is breaking away. Oh, and that's Buzek in the second Smarty car that's making a move on Vanashek, who is making his VGP debut. He's tried several times to qualify for the season, so it's good to see him making his debut finally after some quite bad luck in previous seasons. But there he's in the second Legion car, and good to see him getting his elbows out and getting stuck in. He may not necessarily go always his way, but he's in a solid position, fighting with Buzek, but jumping back into the battle with Stefanko. Wow, I'm stunned, really, that Stefanko just doesn't seem to quite have the pace of Klemitz. I mean, we've seen a brilliant defending from Klemitz. That half a lap side by side is absolutely testament to that Klemitz won. But wow, I'm genuinely surprised that Stefanko would seem to be struggling at the moment.
Yeah, 0.3 faster last lap was Stefanko compared to Klemitz, and will we see that change? Yeah, actually, it's about another 0.3 that time. So it seems that Stefanko dropped back. I don't know if that was due to a mistake or if he was just dropping back to cool his tires. We can only hypothesize as far as that's concerned. But unfortunately for the two of them, Schmidl has continued to extend his lead up at the front. It is looking like a couple more seconds were gained. Polesny, meanwhile, is down in 15th position. He's not the last of the VGP1 runners, but he's pretty far from the rest of that pack, the top 7 as it is right now. But he's going to gain another position, rather easy position actually, as he breezes past Kujela, who I believe Kujela is also racing with the flu. So maybe they were practicing together, Blazek and Kujela, and that's what caused both of them to have the flu. I'm not entirely sure, but So Polesny though moves himself up into 14th position. Still lots of positions to be made up, and possibly points as well too, as we rejoin the other Acer car of Rigel, who's coming under attack from Yaroslav Prohaska. Very close between those two guys, just a car length between them as they make their ways through the double left-handers of 6 and 7. and very, very close between them, and the BenQ car following very well. Will he be sizing him up? Not really an easy place to overtake through Sector 2 or Sector 3. Really, all of the overtaking locations at this circuit are in Sector 1 at turns 1, 3, and 4 are going to be the primary overtaking locations for these drivers today. So, yeah, Prohaska piling on the pressure onto the back of Rigel, and these are two of the leading VGP2 drivers at the moment. It is Koreny and Pachada that currently lead the way for VGP2, but Rigel and Prohaska just a few seconds adrift of that battle. So Chlebets and Stefanko still continuing on, though, as they make their way down towards turn 4 yet again. And I don't think Stefanko is going to be able to mount any sort of attack here. He does seem faster than Chlebets, but it's not a massive difference. It's very marginal. As I said, you know, maybe 2-3 tenths a lap quicker. And I don't know if it's the car, if it's the circuit, if it's the driver that's ahead of him, but Stefanko just cannot seem to find a way past.
Which is, you know, all the more credit to Chlebets. We saw some amazing performances from last season, but they were a little bit few and far between. But if that performance he has put in so far, we still have another 20 minutes of this race to go, in fairness. So, I mean, if that's anything to go by, you know, keep an eye on Chlebets as the season progresses. Oh, that's Vanacek that is getting a bit out of shape, coming through 4. Now under pressure from Pachada in the Thrustmaster cars. They then come through 6 and 7. Car 18, the Thrustmaster car, trying to get the inside line on the Legion car. It's difficult to do because you don't have the momentum, but he's forcing Vanacek wide again as they come into 7 and 8. Can Pachada get this move done before he gets towards 9? Still side by side. Now it's going to be Vanacek that's going to have the inside line. The advantage with him at the moment, but he's not going to have the momentum. Oh, what a move by Pachada in the Thrustmaster car to come up into 17th position. Nice and cleanly done. Oh, that's a bit wide for the Legion car from Vanacek. That could put him into trouble as well. Jumping back up to Chlebets and Stefanko. Once again, the Smarty and Benzina cars fighting for their position. Oh, what a big dive from Stefanko! I think he's realised he has to do something like that. He's got to make a big move. But Chlebets once again getting the momentum where he needs it on the outside of 4, through 5. He's got the inside of 6. Wow, Stefanko is determined. He's hanging on to the outside line. That's going to give him more speed, but of course it's not the ideal line to take. Chlebets then, he's out of position as he's come through 7. Is it finally an opportunity for Stefanko? Can he get the momentum where he needs it? He's finally alongside, noses ahead of the Smarty car, but Chlebets is going to have the inside line. Big move for Stefanko. Has he finally? It's taken so long for Stefanko to get that move done in the Benzina car. It's a great effort, but it took that huge dive coming into turn 4 to start that process off. And at last, Stefanko returns into 2nd position, but Chlebets is poised then to return fire.
Unbelievable. Fantastic driving. This is the type of Stefanko that we like to see. It did take him a while. I'll give him that. It took him a little while. It would have been nicer if he could have done it a little bit earlier on. But let's cast our eyes back to Frabish and Kovacic, who are very close to one another as they get into the braking zone for turn 1. The Logitech car seeming like a little bit of the quicker of the two. You can see just ahead as well, Rigel and Prohaska still battling as they make their way into turn 3. Will the Logitech car make a dive up the inside? No, actually the Avast car defends the inside line. Here goes Kovacic around the outside at turn 3. It's going to be difficult to pull that one off. It really seems that some of these corners, like that penultimate corner where Stefanko made the move through turn 9, you actually want to be around the outside. But at turns 1 and 3 and 4, you really, really don't want to be at the outside. And Kovacic again is being forced to the outside line as they descend down into turn 4. He takes the apex very well. Can he get the exit that he needs? Again, he's going to be on the back foot, though, as the Avast car defends the inside line into the next into the double left-handers here. And again, yeah, with that inside line, the Avast car holds on to that position, and I don't think Kovacic is going to be able to make anything happen through the next series of corners. He's finding that apex a little bit better, but it's a sort of medium-length run down to that penultimate corner. It's not quite a long enough straight, and it's really not a heavy braking zone into that penultimate corner either. You can see just a dab of the brakes, really, as they get down into fourth gear. It's only a fourth gear corner, so it's really not a heavy braking zone. Through the final corner they go, and just fighting that oversteer ever so slightly is Kovacic, and he's picking up the slipstream here on the run down towards turn 1. He's not going to be close enough to make anything happen here. He's going to want to be slow in, fast out, and hope for a mistake from Frabish, who is one of our VGP1 drivers, of course. Again, he is running behind a number of VGP2 drivers currently, but he's gonna be hoping to change that, of course. As there we go, side by side once again. I'm having deja vu. I swear we just saw this, and around the outside of turn 4. Again, it just doesn't work. But actually, Frabish with a really poor exit. This could be Kovacic's moment. He really needs to get past him, though. He doesn't want to be side by side into the braking zone. He's narrowly ahead. He's just got his nose ahead. Can he be later onto the brakes? No. Frabish is very brave onto the brakes. Around the outside goes the Logitech car, but again, Frabish is holding on to it, but this time, crucially, Kovacic is going to have the inside line into the next two left-handers, and surely that's going to be enough, but no, Frabish again, very brave on the brakes and holds on to that position. I cannot believe the defensive driving we're seeing here today in Austria.
My eyes are on stalks, they really are. I am stunned by so many of these amazing side-by-side moves that have, almost all of them have come out really, really well. You know, we haven't seen anybody, we've only seen that sort of one incident where it wasn't even a big impact for, coming off of turn 5 for, it was Polesny who was sent off into the dust. But it just had bad repercussions for him. Here comes Kovacic again. Bearing in mind, he was nearly last at the end of lap 1. And here he is. He's fought his way through, not giving up at all, piling pressure onto the VTP1 driver of Frabish in the Avast car. He's now going to have the outside coming through to up the hill into turn 3. Surely this is going to be 12th for Kovacic. That's very close. And Frabish is not hanging on to that. Gets a good drive at the exit of 3, and he's pulled ahead again. And, well, what do you know? Here comes Reigl, I think it is.
Polesny, actually.
It's Polesny, beg your pardon. In the second AC car, that he's going to be joining this battle. So Kovacic on the outside again for turn 4, setting down the hill. What a great ringside seat that Polesny's got for this battle ahead of him down into 6. And the Avast car doesn't get a great run through there. You can see the Logitech car with the damage on the tail as he's coming through 7 now. He wants to get positioned. He's been fighting so hard. I mean, there's still pit stops to play out, bearing in mind. I think a few people have had theirs, but these guys certainly haven't with the way they've been fighting on. Their tyres holding on pretty well. Ooh, is that a little bit wide for Frabish? Not quite. Polesny looks set to try and really get involved. It just could happen. Anything could happen in the blink of an eye. We've seen it so many times in the race for several other people. This is absolutely incredible stuff from our drivers.
Yeah, I can't believe how quickly Polesny has actually closed up to the back. I would say Kovacic and Polesny, both contenders for driver of the day. Polesny looking to maybe set himself apart for Kovacic, though, almost like he heard me talking about that. He said, I want that driver of the day. Make sure you guys vote for your driver of the day. Of course, they're going to be side by side with Polesny, getting a little bit boxed in. He's got the inside line into turn 3, but he's got that Avast car just ahead of him, and it's kind of boxing him in. He's got really nowhere to go, and that's going to give Kovacic the opportunity to come back at Polesny and possibly even give him an opportunity into turn 4 to try and get past Frabish as well too. And yep, Polesny moves back down into 14th position as the Logitech and Avast cars go side by side. And again, Kovacic around the outside though through turn 4. It's not quite worked out for him. Oh, you can see he desperately wanted that inside line for the left-handers of 6 and 7. Here comes Polesny again as Kovacic misses his apex, and here comes Polesny. Actually, he's going to be so close, nearly side by side between the Acer and the Logitech car through the left-hander of turn 7, but not quite working it out there as actually Polesny with a much better exit through that left-hander and a nice run through the right-hander. Is he going to try and sneak up the inside into the penultimate corner? No, the Acer car stays behind in 14th position for now. Just under 12 minutes plus 1 lap still to go in this race around the Red Bull Ring in Austria as they make their way through the final corner and start another lap. And I can't believe it, but Frabish is still holding on to that P12. I really really expected this overtake from Kovacic. The way he scythed through the rest of the field. As you mentioned, Chris, he was right down at the very back. And then he's just flying his way through the field, making overtakes. Fantastic overtakes as well, too. Again, I think he's a real contender for driver of the day. But then he comes up to Jan Frabisch, and he just cannot find a way by. He's going to be a bit later on the brakes, outside line through turn 3. Once again, can he get the exit that he needs? Again, what he needs to do here is actually pull ahead, and he's done it. He has done it. Kovacic has finally pulled ahead of Jan Frabisch before getting to the braking zone, and that has proven to be really crucial as Frabisch dives up the inside. He's not willing to give up contact between the two of them. The Logitech car, I cannot believe that. I think he really caught Kovacic off guard. He caught me off guard with that move, I'm not going to lie. I thought that was done and dusted was that one, but side by side through the left-handers again, on board with Polesny. He's got that front row seat for this incredible battle. You can see the battle scars on the Logitech car, the Avast car with the advantage through the left-hander. Here comes Polesny to try and get involved as well too, and no! It's exactly the same. I can't believe it. We saw them trade positions, but here we are at the end of the lap, and it's as they were.
Oh my God, how did Frabisch make that move stick? That was such a huge dive. He did it turn 4, but it's paid off. Here he is, back in 12th. And keeping Kovacic behind. And Kovacic has pace as well. Some of his best laps haven't been that far off leader's pace. Side by side again, coming into turn 1. He's going to have the outside. He's going to have the momentum. Can he carry it through? Polesny looks like he wants to demote Frabisch another position. Little bit of trading pain going on between the Acer and the Avast cars. Kovacic finally up into, well, I'd say finally, he's up to 13th, up into 12th again. Can he hold on to it this time? Frabisch, oh my goodness, huge dive! No, my goodness, that was way too ambitious. There was no space there, and Frabisch went for it anyway. That's given Polesny both positions, and brought Kujala in as well. So, that was a little bit too ambitious for Frabisch. I would imagine Kovacic might be pretty upset by that, because that was a huge dive, and that took both of them out, and Polesny, brilliantly positioned, has taken the pair of them.
I cannot believe this. I do think it is worth pointing out, reminding our viewers that Jan Frabisch actually started this race in 20th position. 20th position is where he started this race. So yes, Kovacic had that spin, went down to the back of the grid. Frabisch started at the back of the grid and still finds himself involved in this battle. You can immediately see the pace difference though as Polesny starts to break away. And as you mentioned, Kujala now getting involved in this battle as well too. So what was a two-way battle turning into a three-way battle could become a four-way battle here now as well too. Again, I did mention Polesny starting to break away a little bit, and I imagine Kovacic battling Frabisch is probably only going to allow Polesny to pull away even further. Here we go, up the inside with Kovacic into turn 1. Can he be late enough onto the brakes? Actually, no, he cannot. He's going to give lots of room, though. I have to say, very respectful racing we've been seeing for the most part. We've seen maybe minor incidences, nothing I'm willing to grab my pitchfork for or anything like that, but side by side through turn 2 into the braking zone for turn 3. Another bit of contact between the two of them, but light contact, just a bit of rubbing between the two of them, bit of trading paint. Kujala is rightfully right in this battle as well too, and Bushek actually isn't all that far off. You can see him just in the distance as they descend the hill from the highest point on this Red Bull Ring circuit. Inside line for the Avast car, very wide for the Logitech car. Is he going to try to switch back? No, it didn't quite. Yes, actually, I was going to say it doesn't look like it's going to work out, but he's going to again be on the outside through the double left-handers here. It's so difficult to go around the outside. It's just so much corner to be at the outside. The back end stepping out on that Logitech car. I would love to see a slow motion replay of that back end just stepping out for the highlights or something. But Kovacic stays behind Jan Frabisch. And again, just look what this is doing for Polesny. He just continues to extend that gap. Kovacic thinks about going up the inside into the penultimate corner. In the end, thinks better of it. But you can see how much more speed he's carrying compared to the Avast car ahead of him, and he's really got to get a move on. He's already lost one position to Polesny, and if he's not careful, he could lose another to Kujala.
Absolutely amazing stuff. The amount of pressure that Kovacic is putting on Jan Frabisch is just unreal. And this is the move that Frabisch did. He was way too late. Couldn't slow it down. Of course, as the Logitech car tries to turn in, he bounces off the Avast car, and through then goes Polesny. Thank you very much. I'll go through. And again, Kovacic is doing everything he possibly can to get Jan Frabisch out of position. But every time he manages to make the pass, Frabisch throws his car toward an apex and somehow makes it stick. And he only just made it stick in the replay we've just seen. There's only 6.5 minutes remaining. So Kovacic is running out of time to try and get back up into that 13th position. But everything he's tried, Frabic has got an answer for. So that's brilliantly driven. Of course, Kuchela's got a great ringside seat for the battle ahead of him. He's poised in case these two come together again. So it is by no means done. The top 6 positions are pretty much settled. So Jan Secret is getting close to Blasek, but will he get close enough to make a move? Only time will tell. Pachada and Carney are fairly close together, but what an amazing scrap it's been. And just to remind us who our leader has been all day long. And once again, Michael Spindle, he is still with us. He's 10 seconds clear, near enough, of Stefanko as he comes down the hill, admiring the scenery and having a fairly pedestrian Sunday drive. And his last lap was a 9.1, which is one of the quickest laps of the race. There is Stefanko, and that's finally is the gap he's managed to build up to Hlebit. So it does look like the Smarty car is falling off the back of the Benzina car, but absolute all credit for the amazing defensive work that Hlebit's put in. Back up to it's Frabic and Kovacic once again. They've given their brands a lot of airtime. It's going to be on the outside, coming to 3 again. Bit of door banging going on. And no, is that going to pay off? Who's going to get the greater drive out of turn 3? It's back down the hill again. Kovacic is nosing ahead in the Logitech car. Can he get it to stick this time? He's going to have to defend the inside line. He's shut that door. He does not trust the Frabic to throw on the inside, and the Avascar's trying to switch back underneath him again. Here comes Kuchela to get involved. Has Kovacic finally managed to go 13th? No, it's still side by side as they come into 6th, and the Avascar still trying to stick it around the outside. No, he's having to settle into position behind, and there is Bushek in the Smarty car. This train is now 4 cars long. That's the view. What a great view that Kuchela's got. I'd pay money for that one. In the Forza car now coming into the penultimate corner here again. 4 minutes 20 left plus 1 lap. Oh, and you can see how sideways the Logitech car of Kovacic is getting. He is fighting everything with whatever he's got left in that car, whatever rubber he's got left on the tyres. He is leaving nothing to chance. He wants to get away from Frabic. What he needs is Bushek to get involved and get the Avascar off his tail.
Without question.
I was saying, here's the battle with Secret and Blasek. I was looking at the timings. I could see that the RPS car was getting very, very close to the, I was going to say ailing Legion car, the ailing driver, I should say. He's, as I mentioned earlier, he's not been very well and done pretty well in this race. Jan Secret, here he is in the position to pile on the pressure to one of the best defensive drivers in this league. So we're going to see how well the Legion car can fend off the RPS.
Unbelievable! I really can't believe it. You can tell that Kovacic was learning. It took him a little while to learn his lesson, but he learned his lesson when it comes to defending from Jan Frabic, which is once you pull ahead, defend the inside line for the following corner. That is absolutely required if you want to get past Jan Frabic. As actually the Spurt cars are running very well. I've only just noticed that. That the 2 Spurt cars are running in very... Oh, that's actually... Thomas Prohaska is a lap down. I apologize for that. So he's actually not involved in this battle, but this is between Korani in the other Spurt car with David Pachada in the Thrustmaster car as they make their way out of turn 1. But great to see Kovacic finally get his man and move himself up into a position. Polesny now has a nice, comfortable gap between himself and Kovacic, so he really doesn't have to worry too much. Are we going to see Pachada dive up the inside into turn 3? No, we are not. The Spurt car maintains that position. He's going to get the exit that he needs, actually, out of turn 3 as they reach the crest of the hill and begin descending once again. And very, very close between the two of them. Is Korani going to defend the inside line into turn 4? It does not look like he will. Is Pachada going to go for a dive bomb? No, he is not. He's not going to go for a Frabic-esque dive bomb up into the up into turn 4. I got to give it to Frabic, though. Again, you know, that was some incredible stuff. And at no point did I think, you know, that's a dirty driver. Let's, you know, get after him. I think it was tough but fair for the most part. You know, I would probably have to see onboards with Kovacic in order to make any sort of real ruling about that. But I'm sure Jan Frabisch is probably exhausted, actually, more than anything else. He's just got to be mentally and physically exhausted at this point in the race. And yeah, we're really coming to the end now. Only a minute and a half remaining plus 1 lap. I'm not sure where Schmidl is currently on the circuit, but of course it is a relatively short lap, less than a minute 30, so I imagine he's going to be finishing this one and then doing 2 more. Whatever he's on right now, plus 2, is probably what we're going to see from the leading car of Michael Schmidl. As we mentioned before, in the end, Stefanko really not able to race with Schmidl due to getting caught behind Klebets, who, as you said, did a fantastic job. You cannot fault Klebets for that incredible defensive maneuver, as is that Thomas Prohaska actually unlapping himself from the Thrustmaster car? No, not quite. But that is actually going to give a bit of a buffer to his teammate, Koreny, in the other Spurt car. So I wonder if that was a bit of a tactical unlapping of Thomas Prohaska as they get into the braking zone for turn 4 once again. As we are getting very, very close to the end of this race, we're going to see the white flag come out in 30 seconds time. As they make their way through Sector 2 now. It is still looking very, very close on the timing. As Chris said, we're keeping an eye on the gaps up at the front all the while. As Michael Schmidl crosses the line, so he's going to finish this lap and then have 1 more lap. So 2 laps remaining in this race. And he's looking very, very comfortable. I'm sure he's very much enjoying his race out there today at the Red Bull Ring. It's exactly the sort of race that he likes. He got pole position and has pretty much has led the race from lights to flag, or we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he'll run out of fuel like Polesny did at Monza or something like that. You know, who knows with these guys, but it is coming right down to the end of the race, and it looks like the major battles at the moment are really between Koreny and Pachada, and also between Blazek and Sikora.
Yeah, absolutely. Bearing in mind that the Koreny and Pachada battle is for the lead of the VTP2 class. So Thomas Prohaska could well be piling the pressure on Pachada to unlap himself, which he's allowed to do as long as he does not interfere with the car he's unlapped himself from. As he's now back behind him, he certainly can't declare that. But there is an element of pressure he is trying to apply to help his teammate, I would think. So great tactical work there by the Sport pair, as Pachada tries his best to do something against the, well, what has been a great drive from Thomas Koreny. Bearing in mind he started in a 14th position overall and finds himself in 8th. And there is Michael Schmidl beginning the final lap of this race. Just 1.5 minutes remaining for Schmidl, unless he either runs out of fuel or throws it in the wall. Neither particularly likely for our champion and championship leader. There is the lead of the VTP2 class. Fight again as the second sport car, Thomas Prohaska, staying very under the rear wing of Pachada, so he's not trying to make him move. We did see him jump out and look to unlap himself, but he is not forcing the move on Pachada. That is up to him to decide what he's going to do. Attack the one behind, attack the one ahead rather, or defend from the one behind. So he's not forcing the moves. So Pachada may feel a little bit upset by the fact that he's got a sport car large in his mirrors, but he's not really doing anything wrong. He's helping his teammate, although saying that now side by side coming up the hill for turn 3. Again, if he's going to unlap himself, he's got to do it and get clear. May well see the sport cars come over the line astern, and there we go. So he's actually got the move done. Pachada now has 2 sport cars in front of him to deal with. This is certainly not what he intended. But if Prohaska isn't going to hold him up, and you can't say he is, he has. Oops, he's outbraked himself into turn 4. That brought an end to that. But all the top honours once again belong to this man in the Predator car. The winner here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria is the Predator car of Michael Schmidl.
He's done it again. I mean, who can stop him? Maybe Klebets, though, actually, after the drive we saw from him today. If he gets a good enough start at the beginning of the race, he can absolutely pile that pressure onto Schmidl, maybe grab the position and keep him behind. Kostulik, in the end, in that new Forza liveried car, is going to come home in 4th position, and I'm sure very happy about that one, as Stefanko's dropped down the timings. I think that's just a glitch, though. But the two Acer cars are actually going to be very close to one another. Polesny, I did notice this earlier, actually, that Polesny was closing right up to the back of his teammate Rigel in the VGP2 car. Of course, it doesn't matter if he gets past him or not, because they're in different splits. But that is a nice screenshot for any of you Acer fans out there. If we, I'm sure they would enjoy that. Oh, it's Machada going a little bit squirrely through the final corner, and there is Hurtnecki, who again he had another fantastic defensive drive. So really impressive stuff from all of the drivers here today. So this is the top three. Michael Schmidl again claiming that victory. Martin Stefanko in the end coming home in second position, so it's very similar compared to last race with Chlebets coming home in third. There you can see the confirmation of the times, as Kazanik actually dropped down with a 20-second penalty, as did Blazek, so dropping down to 6th and 8th respectively. Thomas Prohaska with a race to forget with 1 lap down. I'm sure he's not going to be happy about that, but no changes in the top three. These are the standings in VGP Elite, with Michael Schmidl extending that gap. It was a 1-point gap. It's now a 4-point gap between the two of them, as Chlebets is in third position with 11 points. So it is still very close at the top. I mean, just one victory and one poor race for Schmidl could mean the difference. But go ahead, talk us through VGP2 here, Chris.
So Thomas Kearney taking the top spot for VGP2, then very closely followed by Pachada. Jaroslav Prohaska takes the third spot. There is Kovacic taking fourth. Kuzela 5. Mika Bushek in 6th. Pavel Riegel demoted down to 7. As what an amazing race by our VGP2 drivers. That is how the championship now stands. Thomas Kearney with also with a 4-point lead up top over Kuzela. Then Pachada there in third, and great effort from Kovacic to find his way back up the field to hold on to that fourth. Then Pavel Riegel rounding out the top 5.
And let's have a look at the Teams Championship. Predator now leading the way with Schmidl and Jelinek in with 21 points. It is still very close, though. Things have extended in the Drivers' Championship. Just look at that Teams Championship. Wow. There's practically nothing to it. But that is going to do it for VGP from the Red Bull Ring. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks to Chris Buxton for joining me, of course, as always. And we will see you next time for Round 3. Goodbye.